Advertisers.
All right, what's going on, everybody? It is Pushing the Limits on a Friday. Yes, that's right. We made it to Friday, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on what is another very busy news day. Yeah, there's a lot to get to. There's a lot to talk about today. Well, I feel like that's always the case. I don't know, as my headphones aren't working properly, but I guess that's par for the course. Anyway, as I said, a lot to get to and a lot. There we go. There's my headphones. Now they're working. Now they're not working. Now they're working. Now they're not working. Now they're working. Okay. I think we have things getting ready to go here. Welcome, everybody. We're off to a wonderful start, pushing the limits on a Friday. On the YouTube, of course, on the Super Chat, my personal YouTube page is at PTL Radio Show. And, of course, pushingthelimits.live, the Really American Network, TikTok, Twitch, we're everywhere. We appreciate you being a part of the show. I'm going to start off the show today mesmerized again. And I shouldn't be surprised on a daily basis what the Donald Trump administration does, what Donald Trump says. Let me remind all of you, back in 2017, Donald Trump accused Qatar of being funders of terrorism. And now, I can't believe I'm going to say this on the air, the U.S. is going to host a Qatari military base on U.S. soil, which means that Qatar pilots are going to be flying over U.S. airspace. Do we remember when Joe Biden was criticized and people on the right were saying he was going to be starting World War III because there was a Chinese balloon that was flying over our airspace? Do you remember that? That wasn't that long ago. The people on the right were going crazy. But now they're giving Qatar an entire airbase. What's next? Are we going to give Al-Qaeda an airbase? Hamas? Joining us to talk about this, it's just really mesmerizing.
You pick me on the best days, bro. You really do.
That would be the voice of Ryan Shedd, who is a very popular left-leaning podcaster and my friend. Ryan, I'm just mesmerized by the day. It never ceases to amaze me. Trump gets a $5.5 billion golf resort in Qatar, gets a jet. We're not going to give them anything in return. And then all of a sudden, quietly, Pete Hegseth, oh, yeah, we're going to be giving them some of our own airspace, and we're going to be giving them a military base. You're somebody who served this country honorably. What was your first reaction when you heard this?
That Pete Hegseth talking about redoing all the military barracks didn't matter anymore. This is insane. Again, let's just say what we always say. What if Obama had done this? You know, let Qatar come in and establish a military presence, what seems to be permanent military presence on a base on American soil. MAGA would have been already on the way to the Capitol. Like, let's just call it what it is. I think it's a crazy precedent to set, because I want to tell a quick story because it applies. When I was in tech school, I was a sheet metal mechanic, and they were teaching us everything we needed to know. And they also had a general, I believe he was from the Iran army, and he went through all the blocks with us. You know, like, he spoke decent English, and, you know, he's a friendly enough guy. And we get to one of the last blocks, and we start learning about stealth technology and how to work on it. And I remember they were handing out they called them block packets, and they were handing out the packets, and they didn't give him one. Gave them to all of us. And then the instructor looked at him and said, "You're good to go. We'll see you next week." And as soon as he left, we all kind of like opened it, and he's like, "Now you see why he had to leave." And so we've always been training other militaries. You know, one of the contracts that I used to apply to was to go work in Qatar to help them learn how to work on their F-15s. We literally used to send we still send contractors to other countries to do exactly what they're claiming we need Qatar here to do. So, you know, me personally, I got to throw the BS flag, and yeah, we'll see where this one goes.
You know, it's amazing because, you know, Mehdi Hassan put out a tweet, and he said for years, MAGA and the pro-Israel folks attacked him for working for Al Jazeera, funded by Qatar. And now as he says and accurately points out, their hero is building a Trump golf course in Qatar, accepting a very large plane, a large gift from Qatar, and following Qatar to build an Air Force base in the U.S. The irony, he says, is unbelievable, and I agree with him.
Yeah.
Fox News isn't covering this story. AON or OAN or whatever the hell they're not covering this story. Newsmax isn't covering this story. And those on the far right, while tweeting about the 1 month anniversary of the murder of Charlie Kirk, and they have the right to do that, but they don't want to talk about terrorists. Let's call them for what they are. A terrorist organization and people in Qatar who certainly support terrorists, who Donald Trump once accused Qatar, and he was right. One of the few things he said that was actually correct back in 2017, funders of terrorism, which they are. And now they're allowing them to have a base here in the United States of America. And I don't hear anybody from MAGA talking about this.
No, because they know how bad it looks. They know how bad it is. I mean, it's a PR nightmare for these people. Like you said, there's so many things they're going to have to walk back now to make this seem okay. So, again, I ask all my veterans out there, regardless of your political affiliation, I just ask you this simple question. Are you okay with this? That's it. Knowing what we know as veterans and that we already help these nations in so many ways learn how to work on these aircrafts. We send them weapons, we send them resources, we sell them parts for their planes. Like, these things were already happening. So I'm literally reading it right now. I have it on my screen. The justification that they are using to do this deal, it's just straight nonsense. There's no other way to put it. It's a fallacy. They're just making up whatever.
I agree. And Ryan, can you imagine? I always seem to do this every single day, but I'm going to do it again. Could you imagine the hypocrisy that if and you remember this Chinese balloon that was in the air, and MAGA were saying, I can't believe Joe Biden is allowing this.
Hasn't shot it down yet.
Right. World War III is around the corner.
Yep.
And I'm laughing because can you imagine if during Joe Biden's administration or Barack Obama's administration, for that matter,
any Democrat, let's call it
any Democrat, if they allowed the Qatari military to have a base in the United States of America, can you imagine?
Yeah, no, it wouldn't have gone well. And anybody that tries to say differently, they know they're full of it. They know darn well that if it was a Democrat, this would be a lead balloon. It would not go. It would not happen. They would block it every step of the way. They would filibuster it until they couldn't stand anymore.
So what would you say about all these people that still have these America First flags? Is this America First when we bail out other economies? Is this America First where we take 20 million people off of their Medicaid and take food stamps away from people? Is this America First when we allow a group that supports terrorists to build a base on U.S. soil? Is this America First?
No, it's Trump first. And I think the evidence it's there for everybody to see. I think you said it at the beginning of the show. So many things that this family has directly benefited from, this government that they're about to allow have military presence. That jet was a gift. This deal to bring them here was done months ago. This deal wasn't just done in this week. This deal was done when he got that jet. And by the way, I just want to remind everybody that jet is not the government's. Part of that deal was that Donald Trump will take that jet with him, that he's going to spend $1 billion retrofitting to make it suitable for a president to fly on his Air Force One with him when he leaves the office. So again, if Barack Obama had managed to leverage a 747 from the UK and then said part of the deal was that he was going to get to keep the jet when he was done, MAGA's minds would have blown.
Yeah. I mean, it's really insanity. I really don't know what other word to use. And while all this is going on, I don't know if you heard this, Ryan, because I'm going to talk about this in a little bit. Melania Trump has now said she has been in communication with Vladimir Putin, and they've had an open channel of communication because she's trying to, quote, save the children. Did you hear this statement that she made earlier today? Apparently, Melania Trump and Vladdy have open channels of communication, according to the First Lady, who never really sets foot in the White House. I find that interesting as well. What do you make of this?
Oh, I mean, I've been saying for, I think, 2 years now that Melania is his handler for somebody. I think we just found out who.
What do you think Vladimir Putin pays hourly? I'm sorry, that was a terrible joke.
I think she was probably paid up front.
Yeah, probably. Isn't that what Donald
Always
Trump?
get your money up front.
Yeah,
Get your money up front.
that's true. And now you have Mike Johnson, right, Ryan, who looks like he's aged 40 years in the last 2 weeks, and
understandably so.
You have them, and you have them again continuing to lie about this government shutdown. Yeah. You have the House Speaker who is already attacking people who plan to peacefully protest in Washington, D.C. For this protest. And by the way, these are the same protesters who the vice president said were just a bunch of old hippies, and now all of a sudden they're all terrorists. So apparently,
funny how that works, isn't it?
Yeah, isn't it funny that if you try to overthrow a free and fair election and beat police officers with their own batons, you're labeled as hostages and patriots. But if you're a bunch of old hippies with signs, somehow that makes you a domestic terrorist. What do you make of that?
I can't argue anything you just said.
Yeah.
I think it's time the American people really wake up. I'm terrified, and I don't say that lightly. I am terrified by what we are seeing. It's become very evident to me that Donald Trump's administration is extremely influenced by international regimes, with Putin being among the top of them.
Yep.
I think that Tulsi Gabbard, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, and definitely Pete Hegseth are going to be among the fall people when it's time for everybody to jump out with their parachutes. And I just hope people realize that our government right now is not being controlled by the American people.
I tend to agree with you. Yeah.
That's just a fact.
If you're just joining us, Ryan Shedd, popular left-leaning podcaster. So, Ryan, I find it interesting because in the last 24 hours after we learned that Letitia James was indicted, you have a lot of people on the right that are attacking her weight, attacking her skin color, and already saying that she's guilty and she's, quote, in a lot of trouble.
Yep.
But yet, when Donald Trump, their liable sexual abusing 34-count felon leader, who happens to also be morbidly obese, they seem to forget about that, is indicted. They say, oh, you can indict a ham sandwich. Yep. This is politically motivated. Kangaroo he didn't do anything court. Wrong. Yep. It's a kangaroo court. But when a black Democrat is indicted, they're jumping for joy, and she's already guilty. I'm wondering, and I'm thinking, Ryan, it might have to do with two things. Number one, she happens to be a black woman. I think that plays a role here. And number two, she happens to be a Democrat. Am I wrong on that?
No, not at all. And I think the black woman is actually at the top of that. Donald Trump and his bigoted army, the one thing that they cannot handle is somebody that isn't white handing them their behind. And Letitia James has been, in my opinion, above reproach with how she's gone. And everything that they've tried to use against her has pretty much come up flat when it was all said and done. The fact that they've also, indicted James Comey, like it's very evident, and he's been very honest that these are political, this is political retribution for everybody that tried to go after him and whatever. But again, look at the facts, people. Look at the evidence. Do they have anything against James Comey of substance? Do they have anything against Letitia James of substance? Because I tell you what, I got more things of substance on my phone about Donald Trump than they do pretty much any Democrat in Congress.
Yeah, I agree with you. And correct me if I'm wrong, but and we don't know if Letitia James is guilty or not. It's innocent until proven guilty.
We'll see what comes out.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. And we know that if she's found not guilty, if James Comey is found not guilty, they'll call it a kangaroo court in a liberal courtroom. They'll make more excuses. But this has something to do with $18,000. That's my understanding. Something to do with $18,000 that they are claiming that Letitia James broke the law with. But yet when Donald Trump misappropriation of funds and assets and clear felonies that he committed and was convicted of.
Yeah.
That's a kangaroo court. The Democrats have made up these laws. I mean, the judge is liberal. The jury is liberal. You'll hear every excuse in the book, but somehow they're talking like Letitia James is going to be going to jail for the rest of her life.
Yeah. I'll put it to you all this way. When the right starts caring about the $3+ billion that Donald Trump has made personally off of the presidency, then I'll start caring about $18,000 that a public servant may or may not have, whatever. But more importantly, here's what I want to do. I will use my community and raise the $18,000 that you guys are all claiming, and we'll pay it back. How about that?
Yeah. How about that? I certainly agree with you. Maybe Republicans can pay back the Saudis for the $2.1 billion check that Jared Kushner received and the money that he's going to continue to make off the Saudis. Maybe the billions of dollars that the Donald Trump family is making off this crypto scheme. Maybe the fact that Donald Trump is worth about 8 times what he was worth when he first got into office back in 2016. Yep. But you see, MAGA Republicans don't want to talk about that. They want to talk about how much money, the thousands of dollars Hunter Biden has made from selling his paintings. That's what they want to focus on.
And by the way, Trump just did a new video hawking his next set of watches.
Yeah, I played that yesterday. I played
just in time for the Super Bowl Turning Point USA clan rally. It's going to be great.
Let's talk about that. And I'm done being nice, okay? I know it's the 1-month anniversary of the Charlie Kirk assassination, and never would I condone what happened to him. It's horrible.
Nope, still don't.
Yeah, we both don't do that. But I'm just wondering, and I'm just asking you in general terms, when a wife or a husband loses their companion in a horrible, brutal murder, 2 weeks after you lose your loved one, or in this case, a month, I guess 3 weeks, a month, would it be on your mind to talk about what musicians are playing at the halftime show of the Super Bowl? I mean, that's what's on her mind now. Days after she loses her husband, she's doing podcasts and smiling about Turning Point USA and the direction it's going to take. She's asking people for money. By the way, she's still asking people for money. Mm-hmm. And now they're focused on this stupid halftime show where they're pledging that they want the performers to speak English. I mean, that's probably exactly the type of language that Charlie Kirk would use. Mm-hmm. I find it so repulsive. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure they'll have huge ratings during the Super Bowl. But like that's what's on her mind now. You just buried your husband and you care about who's performing halftime of the Super Bowl. You know, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Nick Fuentes, I did play some of the audio yesterday. He's actually right on this one. I disagree with him on everything, but yeah, her behavior is beyond bizarre.
I know it sucks when we have to start agreeing with the likes of him and Candace Owens for even 1 minute, but here we are.
Yep.
You know, to me, you know what it feels like, brother? It feels like we're seeing who Oz was. Like, she was the one pulling the strings behind the closed doors. This college dropout who became a multimillionaire using a 501c3 nonprofit somehow. We won't talk about that. Look, they martyred this guy. I've seen people mourn more over their dog. I still have issues with losing my father. I've seen people that lose their spouse and they just go into a deep depression. And I will say, you know, just because you and I, we are who we are, everybody grieves differently. Mm-hmm. That said, I see people on both sides going, this is weird.
Yeah.
Like you lost your husband. You didn't just lose your husband. Like, he didn't just pass away in his sleep, you know, from sleep apnea or something like that. Like, you lost your husband in a very tragic and traumatizing way. And I would not be able to, like, I'm just going to call it what it is. I would not be able to do what she's doing if I lost my wife.
Yeah.
Like, you would not see me online for months.
I agree.
At least.
I'm sorry about your dad. And I will correct you on one thing, though.
Oh, please.
You mentioned people mourning dogs. I don't think that applies to Kristi Noem. I'm just going to throw that out there. I'm just going to throw that out there, man.
You said it. I didn't.
Did you see Kristi Noem, before I let you go, did you see Kristi Noem on top of that ice facility in Portland, looking down at a chicken and a frog and playing, you know, the cosplay tough woman that she clearly is not? And there were more members of the media with their phones and cameras than there were Antifa there. And by the way, I'm starting to believe what some of my callers have been saying for months now, that Antifa is actually not an organization. It means anti-fascist. And yes, I'd like to think there are a lot of people in this country that are anti-fascist. It's not even really an organization, right? And it's like,
it's not a 501c3 like Turning Point USA.
Exactly. That's my point. Yeah, that's my point. Did you see Kristi Noem? I mean, it's just so pathetic.
Well,
It's
I mean,
so
I loved her jazzercise photo. After seeing that, I'm not sure how she keeps those vests on. You know, there must not be plates in there because she's like 110 pounds dripping wet.
Yeah.
And with
90 pounds of that is
the
makeup,
hair
by the way.
extensions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
90 pounds of that is fake hair and makeup. Yeah.
Look, you know, I don't have a problem attacking these people because what they're doing is disgusting. She's performative at best, incompetent at worst.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, it's we have to call this stuff out, and we can't just sit here and try to be the ethical, moral high ground people right now. Like we have military being sent into American cities
Yep.
with politically opposing leadership.
It's sick. It's sad.
Fascism.
Yes, it is. I'm ready to use that word. And you know what? Donald Trump is the one who used fascist to describe Kamala Harris. By the way, she couldn't be anything further from that.
Right.
And yes,
Yeah,
we are
socialist and a fascist. It's
ridiculous.
That's a big stretch.
I would agree. We're living in a dictatorship and an oligarchy, and there's absolutely no question about that. Ryan, before I let you go, and I always appreciate it when you come on, give out that information, how people can follow you and the two podcasts that you got going on that are really good right now.
Yeah, man. And before I do though, I just wanted to say I'm proud to stand with you. You know, this is going to be a marathon. So, you know, we just got to keep going. But and to the production team, as always, appreciate y'all. But yeah, you can come follow us right now. I'm doing this great show with Marcus Flowers, with all due respect. And we actually are asking people to send us names of local politicians, local liberal Democrat politicians that you want amplified, because that's what our whole show is pretty much about. Like, yeah, we do a little going at Trump and stuff, but really this show is meant to start building the pipeline for the Democratic Party so that we know who our future is.
Yes.
So please come support us. Come find me on YouTube at Ryan Shed. So SHEAD. Brother, as always, appreciate you. Appreciate the show. Let's keep going.
Appreciate you, Ryan. Good to see you. We'll catch up with you next week, my friend.
Yes,
Have
sir.
a good weekend, okay? You and your family.
Too,
have a good weekend. Thank you.
Thanks.
So I have some very interesting news, some exciting news. And guess what? It could involve all of you. When we come back, I am going to be giving away 2 tickets to see yours truly. I'm going to be doing an event, debate style, with some very interesting characters that you may have heard of. I'm going to be flying to Washington, D.C. for an event, which I believe takes place October 18th. Myself, Tim Pool, Myron Gaines, and Alex Stein. Yes, that's right. I'm one of 4. It's a live event where people will be able to be there, watch us debate, ask questions, and it's going to be happening right in the soul of Washington, D.C., October 18th. I am going to have a pair of tickets to give away when we come back. Now, obviously, I don't want you guys calling in and asking for a pair of tickets when you're not going to go. So that's why I'm telling you guys, you have to be around the Washington, D.C. area and plan on going. I want my listeners to be able to go to this thing, right? I don't want a bunch of Myron Gaines fans there and a bunch of Tim Pool fans there. So that's why they're giving me some tickets to give away. You'll be able to meet me and everybody else on the panel if you would like and ask questions. So that is what I am going to be doing in Washington, D.C., October 18th. And when we come back, I am going to be giving away some tickets to that event. Something that we talk about a lot on this show is healthcare. I talk about it every day. And I am so proud to be joined by a trusted partner chapter for free and unbiased Medicare help. There's a lot of people that call into this show every day that need help. They're worried. And I'm so happy to say that chapter saves people on average about $1,100 a year. So why not give them a call on the bottom of your screen? And here's the best part about it. I had some people yesterday that told me, I called up and there was a long wait. Well, guess what? They give you the option to leave your name and number and they will call you back. So you don't have to wait on hold and listen to that elevator music. I know a lot of people don't like that very much. So give them a call. The number's on the bottom of the screen, 212-461-4078. We also have that URL that you can go to, askchapter.org/limits. But if you give them a call, I promise you, you'll be happy you did. And they review every plan nationwide to make sure you're on the best one. And by the way, if they think you're on the best plan now, they will tell you that. They're going to give you good, free advice. And as I said, on average, they save people about $1,100 a year. Please give Chapter a call and help yourself. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. 212-461-4078 or check out the URL askchapter.org/limits. We're going to be giving away a few tickets to that event I'm going to be doing with a few others in Washington, D.C. when we come back. And we definitely have some audio that we are going to play for you coming up next as well. Pete Hegseth proudly saying that he's so happy that Qatar is going to be having a facility in the United States of America. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, military base. We got that and so much more to play for you when we come back. What is Melania Trump's relationship with Vladimir Putin? Talk about that when we come back as well and give away those tickets. We'll be right back after this. It's Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP. All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Friday. Yes. Welcome back to the show. So, as I mentioned, I'm, going around the country doing different events now, and I'm very humbled by the fact that as this show continues to grow, I get invited to certain events, and I'm privy to go to certain places and meeting certain people. I've been wanting to debate Tim Pool for a very, very long time. Myron Gaines has done this show before. I disagree with almost everything he says. I think Alex Stein at times is a funny guy, but kind of a doofus. I don't know. But guess what? I'm going to be on a stage with those three guys. It's called the Culture War Podcast. They're labeling it as an unfiltered night of ideas, humor, and debate. I'm going to be one of 4 people that is going to be up there on that stage. It's going to be in Washington, D.C. at a place called the Comedy Loft. They're flying me out there to do this event. And yes, it'll be me, Tim Pool, Alex Stein, and Myron Gaines. The 4 of us up there. It'll be a debate. I seem to be the only person up there that'll be anti-Donald Trump, so this will be interesting, but I told them I don't mind that. Now, they are nice enough to be giving me some tickets. Now, this is not a free event, okay? So they're giving me sets of tickets to give away before I fly out there a week from today. Now, here's what I ask for you, and we're going to do the 3rd phone call, but here's what I asked from you, okay? Don't get tickets unless you're going to go. I'm giving you the date right now. So what I don't want you to do is win these tickets and then not go. We want to give it to people that are willing to go. Got to be around Washington, D.C. or in that area. It's going to be October 18th in the afternoon, and I believe it starts at 3 p.m., if I'm not mistaken. It's going to be a couple hours, the event. I have a pair of tickets to give away right now because I promised them I would do that. So if you're the 3rd caller right now, it's 702-221-7283. And again, that number is 702-221-7283. We don't even need your phone number. All we're going to need is your email and your full name, and we will email you, or they will email you, 2 free tickets to this event. You'll be able to meet me, yours truly, and I'll be debating up there on a stage. Tim Pool, Myron Gaines, and Alex Stein. So you know it's going to be fiery up there, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Again, October 18th in Washington, D.C., where you will get to meet me and others. Of course, I want to meet my listeners, and it's going to be a very fiery, opinionated event. There is no question about that. Again, October 18th. Third caller right now, 702-221-7283 is going to win a pair of tickets to this event to meet yours truly. Then, as Numchuck takes the calls, then on the UNLV Las Vegas campus, just a couple days later, I believe the date, if I'm not mistaken, is October 22nd. October 22nd, I'm going to be doing a debate with UNLV students for the UNF America Tour. And Destiny will be there as well, among everybody else that's part of the UNF America Tour. Robbie Roadsteamer will be there. You can't beat this. That'll be in Las Vegas on October 22nd, where I will be opening up the festivities with some good debate and some good conversation. So if you can't make it out to D.C. on October 18th, I will be able to meet you in Las Vegas for the UNF America Tour on October 22nd, bringing the show with us. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully I look forward to meeting some of the listeners and the fans out there in Washington, D.C. I was out at Colorado State. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be very nice today, okay, because I have two people, and I would like to give them both some tickets. Because I'm such a nice person today, and I'm in such a good mood today, we have a listener, Alex, in D.C., that is going to win yourself a couple tickets. Alex, I look forward to meeting you in D.C. on October 18th. And we have a listener here in Las Vegas. His name is David, who says he will be in D.C. at that time. So I'm feeling generous today. So you both have won a pair of tickets. I will be giving more tickets away next week. Congratulations to Alex and David. I look forward to meeting both of you at this event in D.C. on October 18th at the Comedy Loft, where I'll be debating Tim Pool, Myron Gaines, and Alex Stein. I never thought I'd be saying that before. What an interesting opportunity. It's going to be called the Culture War Podcast, and I will be one of four that'll be up there on stage getting into an all-it-out, duke-it-out debate. If you didn't win today, if you didn't win tickets today, and congratulations to David and Alex, no worries. We'll be giving away more tickets next week, and I look forward to meeting all of you out there in Washington, D.C. I know it's going to be a lot of fun. And it's going to be a blast. Don't worry, we'll give more tickets out next week. All right, so before we get to the actual phone calls, I do have some audio that I would like to play for you today, and I've been talking about it a little bit with Ryan Shedd in that first segment, which I find utterly disgusting and reprehensible. Pete Hegseth, earlier today, made the announcement that he is proud to say that the U.S. is going to host a Qatari military base on U.S. soil. You've got it. Now, I want you to keep in mind that Donald Trump is the guy back in 2017 who said that Qatar were funding terrorists. Then, interestingly enough, Trump got a free jet and a $5.5 billion golf resort in Qatar. David? Then, a few months later, after MAGA supporters were claiming all along that this was not a gift, we're not giving them anything in return, and this is a gift to the government, which was, by the way, a lie. It's a complete lie. And we've also learned that $1 billion it would cost American taxpayers to make that plane Air Force One, which I don't think is ever going to happen, by the way. And now, all of a sudden, we are led to believe that this Qatar military base that's going to be built on U.S. soil had nothing to do with those dealings. It had nothing to do with the $5.5 billion golf resort in Qatar. It had nothing to do with this jet. It's insane. So here is Pete Hegseth, in his own words, ladies and gentlemen, and we knew nothing about this, by the way, but I also knew it was just a matter of time before Donald Trump decided to bow down to these people of Qatar. But this is Pete Hegseth, in his own words, talking about how happy he is that this Qatari military base facility is going to be built on U.S. soil.
No one other than President Trump could have achieved the peace that we believe will be a lasting peace in Gaza And Qatar played a substantial role from the beginning, working with our folks to ensure that came about. So I want to thank you for that historic piece. We look forward to joining the president as that gets, it's already been delivered, but as that's formally signed as well. And I'm also proud that today we're announcing, we're signing a letter of acceptance to build a Qatari Emiri Air Force facility at the Mountain Home Air Base in Idaho. The location will be host a contingent of Qatari F-15s and pilots to enhance our combined training, increase lethality, interoperability. It's just another example of our partnership. And I hope you know, Your Excellency, that you can count on us.
Oh yeah, count on us. Since you gave Donald Trump this $5.5 billion golf resort in Qatar and this jumbo jet, for lack of a better term. Again, I repeat, back in 2017, Trump accused Qatar of being funders of terrorism. And now the U.S. is going to host a Qatari military base on U.S. soil. You want to talk about despicable? When all these right-wing turds out there were criticizing Joe Biden for this Chinese balloon flying over our own airspace, now they're giving Qatar an entire airspace. Are you effing kidding me? And let me tell you something. Every single Democrat, this is why I have criticism for the Democrats. Every single Democrat today should be talking about this. They should have already posted it by now on approving this Qatari air base on U.S. soil. Keep in mind that if this was reversed, every single Republican would have said something by now. Where's Chuck Schumer? Where's Hakeem Jeffries? Where's the Democrat leadership? Every single Democrat should be talking about this, how despicable it is. What's next? Are we going to give Al-Qaeda some airspace here? What's next? Maybe Vladimir Putin. I can't believe I am saying this, but the Donald Trump administration is literally allowing Qatar to build this air base in the U.S. And for all of you out there with your America First flags, you're all a bunch of suckers and losers, as Donald Trump would say, because you believed him. You believed him. So for all of your flags that say America First, you might as well use it as toilet paper, because we know that's all down the toilet right now. Down the drain, for lack of a better term. You are all suckers. Give me one legitimate reason why we would allow these funders of terrorists to fly over on U.S. soil, have a base. Give me one logical reason. America First. Give me a break. You all are clueless, deranged, ill-informed, and suckers. Listen to how I made this segue to this next clip. Speaking of suckers, Melania Trump, yes, I did say that, ladies and gentlemen. Melania Trump, who not only wears the Donald Trump knee pads 24/7, actually that's not true. I don't think they've been in the same bedroom for years, but she certainly wears the President Putin knee pads, that's for sure. Apparently, Melania Trump has been in an open channel of communication with the evil dictator, President Putin. This is her in her own words, and no, she's not reading out of her book. Have a listen to this.
President Putin and I have had an open channel of communication regarding the welfare of these children. For the past 3 months, both sides have participated in several back-channel meetings and calls, all in good faith. We have agreed to cooperate with each other for the benefit of all people involved in this war.
You know, I'm beginning to think that, remember when they rolled out the red carpet for Vladimir Putin? I'm beginning to think that the only person that was in that room having a private conversation with Vladimir Putin was Melania Trump. I'm beginning to think that's the only reason why Putin came out here, to spend some quality time with Melania. Because certainly he didn't do anything for the United States of America except hurt us further and hurt the good, innocent people in Ukraine. But thank God that Melania Trump has an open channel of communication, by the way, her words, not mine, with the evil dictator, Vladimir Putin. That really seems to be helping a lot. And I'm sure right after they have these conversations, Putin's, invoking more airstrikes in ending the lives of innocent women and children. But Melania is having an open channel of communication, so I'm sure everything is going to be okay. Now, I've said in the last several weeks that Mike Johnson deserves a Golden Globe Award, maybe an Oscar, because he's talking about how angry he is and what a patient guy he is. And of course, he's blaming the Democrats and continues to blame the Democrats for this shutdown. But I think this is the part of his speech earlier today that was probably most dangerous, because he's calling all of us terrorists. That's right. Per the Republicans' own logic and propaganda, he's painting a target on the backs of tens of thousands of regular, ordinary Americans who will be gathering to exercise their First Amendment right of a peaceful protest on October 18th. I want you to listen to Mike Johnson's verbiage and what he uses to describe these people, the same people that some MAGA Republicans, including J.D. Vance, described as old hippies. Listen to Mike Johnson.
And because of this nonsense, and we're so angry about it. I mean, I'm a very patient guy, but I have had it with these people. They're playing games with real people's lives. The theory we have right now, they have a Hate America rally that's scheduled for October 18th on the National Mall. It's all the pro-Hamas wing and the Antifa people. They're all coming out. Some of the House Democrats are selling T-shirts for the event, and it's being told to us that they won't be able to reopen the government until after that rally because they can't face their rabid base. I mean, this is serious business hurting real people. And I'm beyond words. I can't believe they're actually doing this.
And God forbid, and I don't want this to happen, God forbid some right-wing lunatic attacks people at this rally. Maybe they're thinking that this is Antifa or Hamas. And Speaker Johnson will have blood on his hands because he's already attacking these people who plan to do a First Amendment right to do a protest on October 18th. And he's labeling us all as terrorists. And then Emmer continued on with this hateful, lying, right-wing rhetoric to only try to score political points. Talking about, as he said, this Hate America rally, which, by the way, it is not. It's not what it is. It's not a Hate America rally in D.C. It is a peaceful First Amendment protest right of theirs. And if I could, I would be there as well. But on October 18th, actually, it's interesting that I just said that because I will be there on October 18th. But I'll be there for different reasons. But maybe I'll be able to go to this protest as well. It's probably going to be a crazy day to be there in D.C., by the way. I just realized that. I will be there in D.C. on October 18th. Maybe after this event, I'll be able to go to the protest. I just realized that. And I will if I can, by the way. You might see me there. And let me just be very clear before I play Emmer's clip. The No Kings protests have, in history, been some of the most peaceful protests and well-attended political assemblies in American history. And MAGA, including J.D. Vance, has mocked them for being a bunch of boomer grandmothers and grandfathers. But apparently now they're terrorists, according to Emmer. Have a listen to this.
This is about one thing and one thing only: to score political points with the terrorist wing of their party, which is set to hold, as Leader Scalise just commented on, a Hate America rally in D.C. next week.
Yeah, it's not a Hate America rally, you dope. It's actually the opposite of that. It's part of what makes America great, at least what I thought. We're people from all over the world that are able to work hard here and make a better lives for themselves and their family. That's what makes America great. Not some orange turd with a slogan that really means make America white again. But you see, Emmer and Mike Johnson want to describe these people exercising their First Amendment right for a protest on October 18th as terrorists. So let's just say, hypothetically speaking, somebody does something very bad and there's a violent attack that day. And maybe the attacker thinks that these people are Hamas. Maybe the attacker thinks that these people are Antifa because they listen to the rhetoric being put forth by these right-wing turds like Mike Johnson and Emmer. Who do we blame besides the person who carries out the attack? God forbid, I don't want it to happen. Who do we blame? Then we go to Brooke Rollins, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm not much of a Brooke Rollins fan. She made an appearance on Fox News yesterday. And if you guys want to hear verbatim of what it sounds like for somebody to perform verbal fellatio on somebody on the air, Brooke Rollins is a perfect example. Have a listen to this.
Now is not going to be lost due to the government shutdown. Tell me how that happened and why it's so important.
Well, Will, first of all, can I say we had an amazing cabinet meeting. You were playing a clip from that just a minute ago of President Trump. He walked in before the cameras were there. The cabinet is seated around the table just right behind me, and we all stood up. Just his team. There was no one else in there but the cabinet, and gave him, I bet it was a 2-minute standing ovation. I don't think anyone's talked about that. There's so much love in that room and respect and just appreciation for him. No one could do what that man is doing today. So grateful.
What is he doing? You want to talk about verbal fellatio, ladies and gentlemen? That was just utterly ridiculous. These people are crazy, and that's why I call it a cult. They're crazy. A 2-minute standing ovation. Yeah, he deserves a 2-minute standing ovation, like I'm sure Stormy Daniels gave him a 2-minute standing ovation after they were together. Give me a break. These people are deranged. They're lunatics. He's running a dictatorship. He's running an oligarchy. And when you listen to Rollins talk like that, it's just these people are just deranged. They're sick. That is why I call it a cult. Now, Don Bacon is somebody that, one of the few on the right that certainly speaks truth. And he's talking about the Letitia James situation because we've heard from the far right for years when Joe Biden was president, the DOJ, the weaponizing of the DOJ, when we know that Joe Biden directly had no direct involvement in anything that happened to Donald Trump. But yet Donald Trump openly a few weeks ago was talking about demanding an indictment for Letitia James and James Comey. He said it out loud. And I want you to hear from Bacon what he had to say about this, and listen carefully because his words matter here, and he's right.
The president was demanding her indictment, 2 weeks ago, and I think it really muddies the water. Normally, the presidents stay out of this discussion. They let the attorney general and the process work. And when you have a president ordering and demanding indictments, it will be used by the defense. And so strategically, it doesn't make sense for the president to be making these demands for indictments, which will be used by the defense teams to defend his political enemies. So
Bacon is 150% correct. Everything he said is true to form. But again, the MAGA cult will completely ignore or do the opposite of what they did when their leader was indicted multiple times. Because you see, the MAGA right, when you have a black woman in power, in a powerful position, who happens to be an intelligent lady, yes, I do think Letitia James is an intelligent lady, who is indicted, they automatically, immediately assume that she's guilty. She's in a lot of trouble, as Will Chamberlain said. But when Donald Trump is indicted, when he's indicted, he's innocent. It's a kangaroo court. It's a lefty judge. It's a lefty jury. They're conspiring, and it's politically motivated, and the DOJ is corrupt. If anything happens to somebody on the right, in this case Donald Trump. But if it's a black woman with a D next to her name who was indicted, she's guilty. This is a long time coming. They should have done it sooner. These idiots have absolutely no credibility. And yes, it's not just the fact that she's a Democrat. I think they're also enjoying the fact that she happens to be an African-American woman, which we know many in the MAGA base are scared of these people, whether it be the Jasmine Crockett's or somebody like Letitia James. We know that. 11% of society are African Americans, but yet less than 1% represents the Republican Party. Ladies and gentlemen, connect the dots. There's a reason for that. And it's the same reason why all these MAGA turds on the right, these bigots, are going after Letitia James. And then there's the Nobel Peace Prize. Something that Barack Obama received, rightfully so, and he deserved. But there's a lot of people on the right that are very upset that Donald Trump did not get selected for the Nobel Peace Prize. Steve Scalise is one of them, because they're more upset about this than the fact that our brave men and women in uniform aren't getting paid right now during a government shutdown. Listen to Steve Scalise and how upset he is about Donald Trump not getting the Nobel Peace Prize. And then listen to his voice, when he talks about the government shutdown, when he talks about our brave men and women in uniform, for example, and government workers that are not getting their paychecks. Doesn't seem to care too much about that. He just wants to attack Democrats. Listen to how angry he is about Donald Trump not getting the Nobel Peace Prize. But 15 to 20 million Americans in the big and beautiful bill that are going to be losing their health care, no, they're lazy. Get off the couch. Listen to this.
And it's why you have people, even on the left, saying that he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. I mean, if Nobel wants to restore what used to be a once dignified prize, they can restore their credibility by awarding President Trump the Nobel Peace Prize. He's earned it. He's done more than any leader in the world in years to bring peace throughout the world, especially in the Middle East.
Yeah, there you go. Let's talk about credibility for a moment. Yeah, let's give a guy who's an adjudicated liable abuser. Let's talk about a guy who has lost thousands of discrimination lawsuits because he didn't want black people living in his buildings in New York City. Let's talk about credibility to the guy who is the only president in American history who has yet to concede a free and fair election. Let's talk about a guy who incited January 6th. Let's talk about a guy who's attacked brave men and women in uniform. He's called them suckers and losers. He said he didn't respect John McCain because he was captured. He's attacked POWs. He's attacked women on looks. He's attacked Gold Star families. But Steve Scalise wants to say that they're losing credibility because they didn't give that guy, the monster, Donald Trump, the Nobel Peace Prize. Ladies and gentlemen, we have gotten to a new low in this country when it comes to MAGA Republicans, and it is sick. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take one more quick break, and when we come back, we will be taking your phone calls. That's right, the most interactive show. We will also be going to the YouTube Super Chat first, where your questions and comments will be read live on the air when I come back. By the way, that number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation, now's the time to do it, because most of the show, the lines are completely full. Number 702-221-7283, and again, that number if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-SAVE, 702-221-7283. MAGA callers are always welcome. We will be back in 90 seconds. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP. right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Friday. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to have like a relaxed weekend. I try to get away from politics a little bit, but going to watch a college football game UNLV is going to be playing, watch a little NHL hockey, and just relax this weekend, man, and just try to have a good time and getting the end of pool season, that's for sure. But the weather here in Las Vegas is absolutely beautiful. All right, I do want to get to the YouTube super chat now if I can. And anybody can check it out on the YouTube page at PTL Radio Show, where for a minimum contribution, your messages, your questions, your comments can be read live on the air. Terrence says Donald Trump is setting up the training grounds for another 9/11. Well, you know what, Terrence? I'm not going to say you're wrong on that one. Remember, Donald Trump was the guy who said in 2017 that Qatar, accusing them of being funders of terrorism, he was right. It's probably one of the few true things he's ever said. Lori, thank you for your contribution. Where did Lori go? I don't know where Lori just went, but if we can get back to Lori, that'd be all. There we go. Lori says, so the right wanted to put Jill Biden in jail for senior abuse. The family of Trump and administration is hiding his medical condition. They're hypocrites. Well, I don't necessarily disagree with you. If you remember, a lot of people on the right are still saying that Jill Biden should have been convicted for elderly abuse. Dave says, are you going to stream live on both events, or where can we see it live? Please post a link beforehand. I will absolutely try to do that, Dave. I know that there'll be places where Tim Pool will be broadcasting it. I'm going to try to broadcast it live, too, on YouTube on my phone. And again, that will be October 18th, where I'll be debating Tim Pool, Myron Gaines, and Alex Stein in Washington, D.C. You're certainly not going to want to miss that. And I just realized that's the same day of this protest. So I will probably be a part of that protest as well and be able to get some good video for you guys. Britzerker says, Hegseth said, kill all Muslims, and now he's going to give them an air base in Idaho. Well, you're right, Britzerker. Listen, Pete Hegseth has said a lot of very awful, incendiary things. But let's just talk to his own mother, who called him a woman abuser. Alexa, thank you for your contribution, says, I thought Putin already sold the kids. Yeah, that's true. The fact that Melania Trump is having regular channel of communication with him, doesn't that bother you guys? The first lady, or alleged contractual first lady? It's insane. Seabear says, not an anti-American protest. He got it wrong. We believe in the Constitution and laws. Anti-America is MAGA, break laws, and ignore the Constitution. Seabear, I completely agree with you on that one. David says, congrats on being asked to debate Tim Pool. I figured that would eventually happen based on how fast your channel is growing. Well, David, I appreciate that. That's very nice of you to say. And I will, listen, I'll debate anybody. I think anybody that knows me knows that I am not afraid to debate anybody. And that is exactly what's going to be happening in Washington, D.C. on October 18th, besides having this huge, and I just realized live as I'm doing this show on October 18th, they're going to be having this huge, on Saturday, October 18th, a week from tomorrow, this huge First Amendment protest, the right to protest against Donald Trump and his administration. I am going to be there, and I plan on being there for that as well. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Brandon. Brandon is first up on PTL. Hello, Brandon.
Hey, Brian. Good afternoon. You know, I'm just listening to you, and I think you need to repent and go to confession for how you talk about MAGA supporters. We are not bigots, like you say.
Never said every. Okay, so Brandon, where did I say in this conversation that every single person that voted for Donald Trump is a bigot? You're off to a very bad start. So, Brandon, I want you to listen to my question. When did I say ever, not just today, that every listen to the question, that every single person who voted for Donald Trump is a bigot? When have I said that, Brandon?
I think you said it a little.
No. Think again. You start a conversation by misquoting me. Let me be clear to people like you who have a lot of MAGA wax. Let me be, Brandon, you just mischaracterized what I said. It's not what I've ever said on this show, and you are 150% wrong. Now, I don't know you, Brandon, but based on you making a judgment about me, you're probably one of those people, but we'll find out about that. I've never said that every single person who voted for Donald Trump is a bigot. But what I will say is all the bigots in this country certainly voted for Donald Trump. There's a difference between saying that and saying every single person that voted for Donald Trump is a bigot. Now, listen, Brandon, I don't know if you're smart enough to understand that. But Brandon, are you okay with what's going on in this country? Let me ask you about Brandon, since you're on that topic, and obviously you're a Trump supporter, which is fine, Brandon. I appreciate you calling in. I don't appreciate you misquoting me, but that's okay. I think we cleared that up. Are you okay with Donald Trump allowing a group of people that he says fund terrorists to have their own military base on U.S. soil? As a Trump supporter, Brandon, are you okay with that?
Well, I mean, we have our bases on their country.
Didn't ask
so,
you.
yeah,
Didn't ask you that.
good.
I didn't ask. Okay, so you're telling me a group of people that Donald Trump once labeled as funders of terrorism, which I actually agree with him on. You're okay with terrorist organizations and groups that support terrorist organizations, the United States and Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth hosting a Qatari military base on U.S. soil. For the record, you call it diversity, and you're okay with that. So terrorist
If
diversity,
they're
you're
not
okay with
terrorists, sure.
Donald Trump,
You
the
like
guy,
the open border.
why don't you, this has nothing to do with the border right now. I need you to focus and stay on this position, okay? The guy who you voted for in 2017, when he was president, the first go-around, said that Qatar was funding terrorists. So I ask you again, it's not an if, they are. And there's evidence to prove that they fund terrorists, okay? And you know what they did to Khashoggi? It's been proven already. So I ask you again, point blank, you think it's diversity when Donald Trump, the guy who you voted for, allows Qatari military base on U.S. soil with Qatari pilots flying over the U.S.? You're okay with that?
If they're not terrorists, sure.
Donald Trump, how many times do I have to say this over and over again? Not only has it been proven, but Donald
I'm
Trump...
answering the question.
No, you're
buddy.
not. No, you're not. And you're not my buddy, by the way. You're far from it. So don't call me buddy, okay? You're not my buddy. You're the last person I would ever hang out with, okay? You're not smart enough, quite frankly, sir. But Donald Trump said that Qatar funded terrorists. The guy who you voted for said that. So let me try to phrase it in a way that maybe somebody like you could understand. I doubt it, but are you okay with groups of people that fund terrorists that are foreign entities that are getting military bases on U.S. soil? Yes or no? Are you okay with that?
If they're not terrorists, sure.
Donald
We have
Trump
our bases in
labeled
other
the
countries.
Donald Trump. How many times do I have to repeat myself over and over again? Was Donald Trump lying when he said that Qatar was funding terrorists? Was he lying when he said
People's
that?
opinions.
Oh, I
people's
see.
opinions
I see.
evolve over
So
time.
is it your opinion that I wonder if that opinion changed because of a $5.5 billion golf resort in Qatar or the free jet that he received? Do you think maybe his opinion might have changed because it might have something to do with those gifts? Brandon,
It's
try to.
diplomacy.
Oh, okay. So it had nothing to do with the gifts. It had nothing to do with this $5.5 billion.
No, not at all.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's a very reasonable opinion that you have, Brandon.
It's goodwill.
Hey, let me ask you a question. How did you feel when Joe Biden was criticized? And I would imagine somebody like you, how did you feel about that Chinese balloon that was flying over our airspace? Was that bad?
It was peculiar. I
It was
wondering
peculiar.
why
Okay.
It was there.
Gotcha. It was peculiar. So do you think it's a little bit peculiar that a group of people that Donald Trump is accused of funding terrorists, which they have, is getting a Qatari military base on U.S. soil? Would you also call that, as you would put it, peculiar? Or no, that's not peculiar at all. If a Chinese balloon...
It's diplomatic.
Okay, so if a Chinese balloon is flying over our own airspace, it's peculiar. But if a terrorist group under the Trump administration is giving a military base, a Qatari military base on U.S. soil, you call it diplomatic.
The whole country's not
Gotcha,
terrorist.
gotcha. So first of all, this is their military. This is part of their government, dumbass, okay?
They're not terrorists, so that's Islamophobic
So Donald-
of you to think that way.
First of all, it has nothing to do with the group of Islamic people. I would never call all Islamic people terrorists, you moron. I never said that. There's a difference between people who are Muslim and the government of Qatar. Do you not understand the difference, or are you that stupid? Do you think I think...
Well, you just called
do you
them all
think-
terrorists.
No, sir, I did not call all Muslim people terrorists. You are an idiot. What I said was the
call
Qatari
the people
government,
from Qatar.
Donald Trump, and people of Qatar, he has said that we're talking about the government, you dumbass, not everyday people and families that live there, you imbecile. He called those people funders of terrorism, but you call it diplomacy. So let me ask you a question. If we allowed Al-Qaeda to have a military base in the U.S., would you call that diplomacy, and you would think that would be diversity as well?
No, we wouldn't.
Oh,
let
we
them
wouldn't.
here.
Okay, so what's the
Come
difference
on.
here? We know 100% that Qatar
Al
and the
Qaeda is a
Qatari
terrorist organization.
and what
Qatar is a country.
and what would you
should know
call
that.
and what would you call what happened to Khashoggi? What happened to him? What would you call what the government there did to him, an innocent journalist? What would you call
That
that?
was Saudi Arabia.
What would you call that?
That was murder, but it was Saudi Arabia.
Okay, got you. That was murder. And what do you think the people of Qatar in this military base, who are they associated with? Who do they fund?
They fund their own country.
Oh, they
Look,
don't.
I'm not an
Oh,
expert, but I'm
no,
just
you're,
telling
yeah,
you
sir, sir, you're
you gotta
definitely,
slow down a
sir,
little bit.
you're, no, I'm not going to cool down because you're an idiot. I'm not going to cool down.
I
First
said
of all,
slow down.
first of all, no, I'm not going to slow down just because you're so ignorant. I'm going to say this very slow. You know what? I'm in a really good mood today, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. I'm in a really good mood today. I'm going to.
All right, bring it, buddy.
Yeah, well, I'm not really bringing anything, but I'm going to slow it down for you because I understand why you would ask that because you're very slow. So I'm going to slow it down for you, Brandon. You see, here's the deal, okay? I'm going to speak very slowly and distinctly, even though somebody like you still might not understand. It has been proven beyond the shadow of a doubt, our own intelligence, FBI, CIA, and investigations all over the world, that the government of Qatar has and continues to fund terrorists. Now, with that being said, Donald, and I'm speaking slow, so maybe you'll understand. Back in 2017, the adjudicated abuser and the 34-count felon who I would imagine still support.
Those are fake felonies. They were real.
I don't really care
It's
what
a
your
witch hunt.
I don't care what your opinion is on whether you think it's fake.
And that
felonies.
Letitia
Nobody
James,
cares.
she's
Nobody
getting it
cares.
back. It's biting her in
Nobody
the ass.
cares. Nobody cares what you think about Letitia James. Nobody cares what you think about
She's
the
a
felonies.
slob.
Okay,
And it's
okay.
coming
You're a
back to
slob.
bite her.
You're a slob. By the way, is Donald Trump morbidly obese? Yes or no? Would you ever call Donald Trump a slob? He eats KFC and McDonald's every day. Who do you think is more of a slob? The guy who weighs over 300 pounds? So don't call somebody a slob just because you don't like their political beliefs. Now let's
She's
get back.
built like
Now let's
Donald
get.
Trump.
Nobody
What do you
cares.
want?
Nobody
Look like how
cares.
Michelle
Nobody
Obama's
cares.
built like
Bottom down,
LeBron
please.
James.
Okay. First of all, nobody cares about your attacks on the body of a black woman who has more intelligence in her pinky than you have in your whole body. Nobody cares. Now I know that you're a bigot, and you just proved it just now. And when I talk about MAGA supporters that are bigots, I'm talking about people like you. Let me be very clear on that one, okay? Now, Brandon, I was trying to speak slowly for you, and then you rudely interrupted me, and you started to attack the body of Letitia James. I'm sure you're on the front of Fitness Magazine yourself, okay? And by the way, the guy who you support wakes up in the morning, eats his KFC, puts on 8 layers of orange makeup, is morbidly obese, and can't even walk, okay? Now, going back to what I was said earlier, because you asked me to speak slower because you're very slow, and I want to help you, Brandon, because you certainly need a lot of help. You see, Brandon, Donald Trump knows who the people of Qatar are, the government. See, I said the government, not everybody who lives in Qatar, okay, dumbass? He knows that they fund terrorists. We know that they fund terrorists. And a group of people that literally funds terrorists and people that end the lives of innocent women and children, Donald Trump has given his own gift to them. That gift is hosting a Qatari military base on U.S. soil. And I do find it interesting, even though Brandon isn't smart enough to connect the dots. I do find it interesting. Maybe Brandon just dropped his notes. I don't know, his Newsmax notes. Go ahead and pot him down. I don't want to hear this loser anymore. But I do find it interesting, and Brandon doesn't think it's interesting. Or maybe, as he would use the term, peculiar, because when he talks about a Chinese balloon flying over our airspace, he calls that peculiar. But yet, a couple months after they give Donald Trump a very expensive jet as a gift and a $5.5 billion golf resort being built in Qatar, and now all of a sudden Donald Trump has a deal with them that they get a military base on U.S. soil, he doesn't think that's peculiar. My last question to Brandon would be this. Brandon, I mean this with all sincerity, and I mean this as nice as I possibly can be. Do you realize how stupid you are, Brandon? Do you realize how dumb you are?
I am not stupid.
Yes, you
I'm
are. Have a
fair.
nice day. Have a nice day, Brandon. No, just get him off the air. Might be one of the dumbest calls I've ever had. And quite frankly, that's saying something because I have a lot of dumb ones, that's for sure. Brandon, make no mistake about it. When I called some, not all, some Trump supporters bigots and uneducated and ill-informed fools, I was talking about you. 702-221-7283, 702-221-7283, the number to call. Let's go to Chad. Chad is next up on PTL. What's up, Chad?
Hey, Brian. I'm calling today because I wanted to get some help from you because you got a big audience. There's a protest going on in front of the Supreme Court October the 15th at 10 or 11 o'clock. It's because they're trying to get rid of the Civil Rights Act. And we need our allies to be out there to help our black brothers and sisters. So if you could push that and try to get as many people out there as you can.
Okay, well, do me a favor. Do me a favor and send me an email with that information, and I will certainly read it on Monday, and you have my promise to that. Thank you, sir, for the phone call. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Louie. Louie is next up on PTL. What's up, Louie?
Yes, how you doing?
Good. What's on your mind?
You know, just to listen to this news one, it's amazing the hypocrisy that goes on. You know, anywhere between all the indictments to the violence against Democrats that, of course, nobody talks about. Mm-hmm. And, you know, of course, all this money that's going to the Trumps, and it's actually sickening to think about it.
It really is. Isn't it interesting, Louis, that we have a MAGA caller who says that the Joe Biden, during Joe Biden's presidency, a Chinese balloon flying overhead was peculiar. But yet you have Qatar that gives him a $5.5 billion golf resort there, and they give him a free jet, and then a month or two later, all of a sudden they're allowed to host a Qatari military base on U.S. soil. But he doesn't find that peculiar at all.
It's all fake news. You know, I mean, it's not real. You know, it's just like you said with the conviction of Trump, it's all a witch hunt, right? But seriously, about 37 years ago, I moved to this country with my family. So I was just like a young boy. And I asked my mom, why do we move? And she said that she didn't want to grow up. She did not want us to grow up in a government where super corrupt, and it was becoming a autocracy. And here we are, 35 years later.
Here we are,
going right back to where we were when I moved. So,
Louis, I wish that wasn't the case, my friend. I really don't. But you're right, and I appreciate your phone call so much. It's very strange times that we're living in. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Let's go to Brian. Brian is next up on PTL. Hi, Brian. Hi, Brian. Go right ahead. Brian, are you there?
How you doing, Brian?
Hey.
Yeah, I'm here.
Go right ahead.
I'm here. I'm down in the state capitol. I wish we could get Hot Wheels out of here, but I'm down here doing the security at a festival, Austin City Limits. And that's probably why you hear all this noise behind me. I'm one of the managers at my security company, but I still wanted to take some time to call you and touch bases with you a little bit. I had something on my mind.
Okay.
There's a reason why I don't watch, and a lot of black people will tell you the same thing. The reason why I don't watch legacy media anymore. Mm-hmm. I just don't watch it. Because these people, they're enablers. They enable all of these dumbasses, I can't say that, sorry, all these idiots, to just continue just to say just the most off-the-wall stuff and then question them like it's normal. Mm-hmm. For example, the reporter yesterday asking the guy at the podium in Norway or wherever it was at, how come President Trump didn't win the Nobel Peace Prize? Are you serious? Are you serious? Really? I just can't deal with it, man. I'm sorry, I can't do it.
I can't either, and I'm with you, my friend, and Brian.
This is not normal. Stop trying to normalize this stuff.
Well,
it's not normal.
Well, that's the thing that I say on this show every single day. We cannot normalize what is going on in this administration, what is going on with what these agents are doing across the country, not identifying themselves and kidnapping people. We cannot normalize the fact that 20 million Americans are going to lose their health care coverage. We cannot normalize the fact that a large portion of the MAGA base do not want undocumented immigrants to get life-saving care if they're dropped off at the ER. We cannot normalize the fact that Donald Trump has made billions and billions and billions of dollars off of his presidency while they complain about Hunter Biden's laptop and the fact that he was receiving $50,000 a month from Burisma. Oh, by the way, a guy who never worked in Joe Biden's administration. We cannot normalize the fact that we have a 34-count convicted felon who is the president of the United States, who is a liable abuser. We cannot normalize the fact that we have a president who dodged the military multiple times, and we certainly cannot normalize the fact that we have a president who still to this day will not concede a presidential election. And I will never normalize it, my friend. You have my promise on that one. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to the UK and let's go to Paul. Paul, what's going on, man?
Hi, Brian. Yeah, I just thought, I was thinking back on the past few years, and I remember the last time I saw proper oversight, and I watched that Pam Bondi thing, which was the J6 hearings, which were fantastic. And one of the things that struck me most about that was there was a young woman called Cassidy Hutchinson, who was 23, who was a strong MAGA, who said that she could not do the mirror test and continue to defend Donald Trump and use his hand-picked lawyer. So she switched lawyers and she gave evidence against him and turned her life upside down. And she showed courage, which these pompous, suited Republicans like Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham and all the rest of them, they haven't got 1 gram of that courage. And these are elderly, experienced men who know better. And this young girl showed them up by actually doing the right thing, knowing that she was going to get tons and tons of abuse. It was going to turn her life upside down, which it obviously did. And she had said she couldn't look in the mirror, pass the mirror test, if she continued to defend what Trump had done that day. And shame on all these congressmen, shame on these senators who can't call this stuff out. Shame on, what's his name, the chairman of that committee, letting Pam Bondi abuse those the Democrat questioners. When a young girl like that showed them up and showed them what courage was.
Well, it's interesting you say that because, I look at somebody like Adam Mockler, who's done this show before, a very bright young man, 22 years old with Midas touch, and he absolutely destroys the Scott Jennings of the world and many of these MAGA morons, like the Fergusons, Ben Fergusons and others, and that's what I like, and that's what we need more of. We need more young people stepping up to the plate. That's what, Chuck Schumer's not going to get us out of this stuff, right? Chuck Schumer's an embarrassment as far as I'm concerned. He's not going to get us out of it.
He's an embarrassment.
Yeah.
And Hakeem's too square. He's just too square, in my opinion. He's a clever guy, but he's square. But I still come back to this: a young girl with no position, none of the trappings of power that these guys have got, none of the money that these have got, not the income. So she's just an unknown staffer, was prepared to put her life on the line for principle. Yeah. That really struck me. It's incredible that she would do that, because I read her book as well, and it was an amazing life story she's had. And then you get someone like Mitch McConnell, who knows better. He knows that guy's a monster. He knows that Trump's a danger to America. He knows he's a danger to the world. Yet he could have stopped him on that second impeachment. McConnell could have stopped it. And he said, what's the point? He's out of office. Now we see the point, don't we? Now Mitch McConnell sees the point.
Mitch McConnell.
The point here.
No, you're right, Paul. Mitch McConnell will always go down in history as the useless turtle who had an opportunity to do what was right for the American people and refused to do so that he could remain in power. Mitch McConnell will always go down as a coward and a spineless phony, just like many that are in the Republican base, the MAGA base today. So, Paul, I agree with you 150%. Thank you for the phone call. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Kevin. Kevin is next on PTL.
Hello?
Yes. Hi, Kevin.
How we doing?
Good.
Well, I wanted to say congratulations on getting on Tim Pool. I don't know if I'm happy or embarrassed for you, because they're not going to let you speak.
Well, that's not going to
fly.
fly.
They're going to shut you down.
I hear you, Kevin, and I appreciate your concern.
Yeah.
But I will not be bullied, and I will not be on that stage with Tim Pool and allow them to continue to talk over me, because if they do, I will walk off. I am not going to fly all the way to D.C. to do a show and a debate with Tim Pool, Myron Gaines, and Alex Stein and be talked over. And a lot of people told me that when I first started doing the Pierce Morgan show. And I can by the way, Kevin, I could totally understand why you say that. I don't blame you for saying that, by the way. But as soon as I started doing Pierce, everyone was like, don't do the show. They're going to talk over you. They're not going to let you speak. And it's, the last show I did, I think I was speaking 80% of the time. The fact of the matter is that just I'm not going to allow myself to be bullied. I'm not going to allow myself to be talked over. And if I do, I'll throw the microphone at them and I'll walk off.
I just worried they're going to want videotape to put out there. But another thing, the other day we was talking to, these right-wing agitators that's going to these protests. I feel as that's what some of the on the left, like Robbie at Road Steamer. I don't find him funny at all. I mean, this girl, man, that's immature. No, I don't. I mean, that's just out there agitating. I mean, that's literally agitating MAGA.
Okay, so hold on a second. Hold on. Here's where we might disagree a little bit, Kevin, okay? Because I know Robbie really well. And I think there's a difference between agitating. Like, for example, when Nick Sortor goes to Portland, he starts calling women names and starts insulting people. To me, that's agitation and incitement. When a guy wears a thong and a guitar and starts singing Trump was on the Epstein plane and starts, redoing some songs, even MAGA people are laughing. I think there's a very fine line between what Robbie Road Steamer does and what a Nick Sortor does.
Yeah, they laugh, but you can't get in someone's face and not expect to be clocked. I mean, around my type of area. I mean,
Kevin,
you can watch videos. He's all in people's faces.
Kevin,
I just watched him.
Kevin, okay, but Kevin, with respect, he's not going up to someone a half a foot from their face and getting into it with them. The only times that's ever happened with Robbie is when people go in his face first. I mean, I just respectfully disagree with you. I think Robbie's very funny. I don't think he's now, you tell me, okay? Here's the proof in the pudding. Has Robbie gotten into any major physical altercations with somebody? Have there been any?
He hasn't showed him. It's not.
Okay, well, the answer is no. The answer is no.
I mean, neither has the right wing. I mean, because for the most part, the left, we try to be peaceful. But, I'm sorry if somebody comes up a foot or 2 foot, prancing and dancing.
No, he's not doing that.
Well, he does. No, and then also, I would suggest look into Antifa, learn exactly, more into what Antifa is.
Anti-fascist.
Yes.
Yep.
Because we have a cemetery in Washington, Arlington, that is full of Antifa. We need to make people aware of that. Yeah. Our World War II soldiers that stormed the beaches of Normandy.
Absolutely.
As a veteran myself,
I agree.
And they just make these idiots that think that it's anti-fascist.
Absolutely, Kevin.
Anyways,
Kevin,
good luck,
Kevin, I appreciate
my
you.
horrible.
First of all, I just want to say, Kevin, before I let you go, thank you for your service to this country. I appreciate you. You're a hero. Kevin, just hear me out on this, okay? Let's end on a funny note, okay? I don't think our problem in this country is some middle-aged man with a guitar and wearing a thong. I really don't.
I mean, I don't find him funny. I mean, I'm sorry.
Hey, that's okay.
I don't know.
You have the right.
Yeah.
Hey, Kevin, you have the right to not think he's funny. I tend to think that he is, but to each their own. To each their own, Kevin. Yeah. And I appreciate your call.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. If you come down to Washington D.C., I'd love to meet you, and I promise you, I won't be wearing a thong. I might not be wearing any underwear. I don't know. It depends what mood I'm in. I don't want to turn on Tim Pool. Let's go to Peter. Peter's next up on PTL. What's up, Peter?
Hey, Brian, how's it going?
What's up, man?
Did you hear, I'm sorry if you already talked about this, but did you hear the other day when Trump literally said we're taking away freedom of speech when it comes to burning the flag? And do you think that's going to happen at all on the 18th?
It's a really good question. So I will be in D.C. on the 18th for that event, and I plan on being at that event. Here's what I would advise people right now. I don't think burning a flag should be against the law. I've been very clear on that, okay? However, at this actual, whatever you would call it, protest.
The No Kings?
Yeah. I don't think it would be upon anybody's best interest to do so. Take that for what you will. Now, I think it's despicable what Donald Trump is doing. You can beat a police officer on January 6th and they'll call you a patriot, but somehow if you burn a flag, they call you a terrorist. I don't agree, right? But to hear what I'm saying, it's like there are more productive things I think we can do, even though it might be funny to be dressed up in a frog outfit and pretending like you're humping an ICE officer. I don't know. I just think there's probably more productive things you can do. I'm not saying people don't have the right to do that, right? I'm just not one of those people that's going to choose to do that. Now burning a Donald Trump flag, maybe that's different. I think I would say that's perfectly all right. But, I don't know.
I'm just worried people might do it just to kind of like stick it to the man,
I'm worried about that too. I don't think it might be one of the smartest of things to do, but sometimes people do stupid things that aren't against the law. I don't think you're really accomplishing anything by burning an American flag. That's just my personal opinion. I think you're accomplishing a lot more there by being there. And just supporting what everyone else there, I would imagine, for the most part, would be supporting, which would be anti what Donald Trump is doing, anti-Trump administration and pro-democracy, if that makes sense, my friend. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I'm with
yes,
you.
Sir.
I'm with you. Thank you for the call. That's a really good question that you asked, by the way. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Jason. Jason is next up. Hi, Jason.
First of all, I hope you have a wonderful and peaceful weekend.
Thank you.
That was a master class on how you destroyed that kid thinking he was going to come on and outsmart you when we all know most MAGAs are morons and dumb. I am so happy for the Swedish people. They realize that no way we're going to give a Nobel Peace Prize to one of these Hitler Putin. But more than anything, be careful when you go to Washington because, like I was telling you, Fox News groomed all the Republicans to overtalk and not listen to nobody. That's all they do is overtalk. And last but not least, you know why MAGA's mad at black women? Because Republican women fall in line with their husbands that they're scared to get beat by them. But you know what black women do? They stand on their own. 99% went against Trump, and that aggravates MAGA and Trump, and that's why he don't like black women. He did it to April Ryan, Jasmine Crockett. I could go down the line. He don't like black women because black women don't like him. I digress. And have a good weekend.
Thank you, Jason. Thanks, Jason. You too, my friend. I love you. Thanks for calling in. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Scott. Scott is next up on PTL. Hello, Scott.
Hey, how are you?
Good. What's on your mind, Scott?
I got two things real quick. One is I got a theory of why Erica Kirk is so happy.
Okay.
She probably paid the shooter who shot her husband, who was very abusive.
Scott, listen. I think it's very fair to criticize Erica Kirk. But I'm certainly not going to entertain a conspiracy theory that she was behind it. I can't do that in good faith. Listen, Scott, we're on the same page here, right? We both don't like what Charlie Kirk stood for. We both are not fans of Erica Kirk. But I can't. I
respect that.
I can't do that because I
respect
just
that.
don't think it's in good faith. And listen, if anybody has any real evidence to prove that, then I'm open ears. But listen, I think her behavior is very strange. Not because I think she was behind anything that happened to her husband, but I think she's just a really odd, strange grifter. That doesn't mean she had something.
Okay.
That doesn't necessarily mean she had something to do with it. And I'm not willing to go there with you, my friend. With all due respect.
That's fine. Can I spell fascist for Donald Trump?
Sure, that's okay. I don't mind that at all.
Fat, a-hole, stupid, childish, idiot supporter of Trump.
I'm good with that, my friend. I don't have a problem with that at all. I think everything you just said is very factually accurate. That's for sure.
I just know that Charlie Kirk believed in the Bible, and he believed women should obey men, and that they should follow the man, and all that stuff.
It's misogynist, and as I've said,
misogyny.
And as I've said before, and I say again, I could care less what's in that book. I don't care. If people want to be
me also.
If people want to be Bible thumpers, they have the absolute right to do that. But don't you tell me that I have to believe everything that's in some book that a human being wrote, by the way. So,
right.
I mean, give me a break.
that's why I was thinking she wasn't all that sad that he passed on.
Oh, yeah,
but I understand.
Yeah, I think she's a grifter.
Theories.
I think she's a grifter.
Right.
And I think her behavior is bizarre because she's an extremely bizarre human being. And I think it's an absolute very poor taste to, within hours after your husband is brutally executed, and it was brutal, regardless of what you think about Charlie Kirk, it was brutal to watch. It was terrible. And then hours after, she's asking people for money. How could anybody say that that's normal behavior? It's just bizarre. I'm not willing to go that far and say she had something to do with what happened to her husband because there's no evidence to prove that. But certainly her behavior is beyond bizarre. Number to call, 702-221-7283. Let's go to Tom. Tom is next up on PTL. What's up, Tom?
Hey, Brian, how are you doing?
Hey, good, man. What's on your mind today, Tom?
Yeah, it's been a long time talking to you on the program. I'm just really kind of, shocked. I guess that's the word that we use a lot every day. But I'm just wondering, to go through this Qatar thing, don't they have to have, government or Congress approval?
No, unfortunately, I thought that too, and then I looked into it. Unfortunately, the answer is no. As long as you have the President of the United States and the Secretary of Defense that are approving this, then they are allowed to have a foreign adversary, or in this case, in my opinion, I think you would agree, funders of terrorism have a military base on U.S. soil. There's really nothing that Congress can do about it. And by the way, even if Congress could do something about it, Trump would go over their heads anyway. He's been proven to do that multiple times already since becoming president for the second time, right?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, is anything like this has ever been happened before in this country?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure this is unprecedented that a former president and now president again, Donald Trump, who once said that this was a group of people that funded terrorists. By the way, I agree with that statement. It's a proven fact. And then years later, after receiving $5.5 billion golf resort in Qatar and a huge jumbo jet, he all of a sudden says, hey, you know what? I'm going to allow you guys to have a military base on U.S. soil. It's unprecedented, and all these MAGA freaks out there and these hypocrites that thought that Joe Biden was going to start World War III because we had this Chinese balloon flying over airspace, but they have no problem with a group of people that support terrorists having their own military base on U.S. soil. Quite frankly, they all can go to hell.
Yeah, thanks, Brian.
Thank
Hey,
you, sir.
have a good debate next week.
Thank you. I appreciate
tuning
that.
in for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, my friend.
You'll do well, I'm sure.
I appreciate that. That's nice of you to say, sir, and I'm looking forward to it as well. Yes, I will be in Washington, D.C. on the 18th of October, which I believe the event is Saturday. I'm flying out Friday. And I'm going to be on a stage with Tim Pool, Alex Stein, and Myron Gaines in front of a live audience. And it should be interesting. We gave away 2 pairs of tickets today. I'll be giving away some more tickets all of next week. Well, you'll be able to see me, meet me in person, and watch the debate live. It should be a lot of fun. It is a ticketed event, but I'm giving away some tickets for free. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Jake. Jake is next up on PTL. What's up, Jake?
What's up? Yeah, I mean, hearing this news, it's just crazy, right? Like, I really feel like this, like, it takes away, because, like, from what I hear, like, this is historical, right? This is historical stuff we are experiencing. Like, not any time in history, as far as what I'm aware, I tried to look it up. I'm not seeing anything.
Yeah, neither am I.
The reason we don't do this stuff is because of the principle of national sovereignty, right? Like, we don't give a foreign nation foreign military, like, power in any capacity. Like, there's a reason for that, because it can definitely cause,
let alone,
Jake,
let alone a foreign group of people that support terrorists. Like, it'd be one thing if it was Canada. It'd be one thing if it was Ukraine. It'd be one thing if it was some of our allies and our friends, right? But this is a group of people that support terrorists. And Donald Trump, after getting a $5.5 billion golf resort approved there in Qatar, after receiving this jet as a, I guess you could call it a gift. I don't know what else I would call it. A couple months after that.
It's being funneled through, his presidential library, like this loophole that we apparently just haven't closed, for presidents to just, like, put something in their name and then just essentially be able to use the assets that they acquired via bribes or whatever. I mean,
can I ask you a question? Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that this might be a harm to our national security, that you have Qatari pilots now and a military base from a group of people that support terrorists that are going to be on our U.S. soil? Don't you think this might hurt our own security?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. 100,000%.
Yeah.
Even if I disagree with you on the point that the Qatari government is, like, just a straight up terrorist organization, I think there's nuances there.
Well, they fund terrorists.
Straight up, 100%. At the very least, they sell weapons to terrorists.
Correct.
Right. Like, like, bottom line, this is a security concern. And
It's
a national sovereignty.
Huge security concern. But as I've said all along, Trump can be bought. You're telling me that this wasn't discussed a few months ago when they gave him this jumbo jet and they gave him approval for a $5.5 billion golf resort in Qatar, that this has nothing to do with it? I bet you it has everything to do with it.
100%. 100%. Because, like, bottom line, like, I mean, these are bribes. Like, 100, like, we can beat around the bush all we want about the linguistics of it. It's a bribe. Like, 100%. You don't give somebody a $400 million jet and ask for nothing in return. They talked about it. It was a deal, and this is what's going on. I feel like we're not going to see the end of this. It's not going to. This is not the end of the deal. I bet there's going to be more things we're going to be hearing over the course of the next year or something.
You make a good point.
I'm sure they're kind of drip feeding it.
You make a good point, because I don't think this is the end either. I actually think that this is just the beginning. You give Donald Trump a $400 million jet and a $5.5 billion approval for a golf resort in Qatar, and you think that this is the only thing that they're giving them in return, which is, by the way, a pretty big thing, a military base on U.S. soil. Yes, I tend to agree with you. I think there's more coming. This is just the start of something, and it's going to continue, and it's despicable. 702-221-SAVE. Trump supporters are always welcome. Just to reset things a little bit here, Pete Hegseth announcing today that Qatar will be getting a Qatari military base on U.S. soil. Donald Trump back in 2017, and he was right. He said Qatar funds terrorists. MAGA Republicans were losing it when Donald Trump was criticized for a Chinese balloon flying over airspace. They said World War III was right around the corner. What about Qatari pilots that are legally going to be flying over the U.S. on U.S. soil? It's funny, they don't seem to have a problem with that. Defend it, please. 702-221-SAVE, 702-221-7283. Let's go to Dave. Dave is next up on PTL. What's up, Dave?
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Brian. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. What's on your mind today?
Yeah, so, you know this Marjorie Taylor Greene, all right? All right, so, you know, I just want people to understand. I'm going to be 61 on November 7th, all right? And I want people to understand. I've been around a lot longer than on this earth and walked on this land for a lot longer than some of these people have. So, look, let's just get it out there right now. These Republicans, they always kiss ass, because that's basically a dictionary word, so I can use that on the air. It's FCC compliant.
Yep.
So they always do. They always kiss ass when the midterm is coming around, and they know that their constituents, you know, are going to be hurting because of Medicaid or and all this other stuff, and they're going to lie to you. Have you ever heard of that? Once a cheater is always a cheater. Once a liar is always a liar.
Yep.
You know, it's always be like that, people. You know, they'll never change. This is how they are. If I can lie to stay in power and then, you know, kiss everybody's ass on the midterms and get them to vote for me again, then I'll go back to my old ways. And then I'll go back and lying again. And then I'll go back and start stabbing you in the back. Because that's what they do.
Yeah.
That's what they always will do. The White House is turning into a corporation. They're corporatist. And they're basically corporation. That White House belongs to me and you, because we're the taxpayer. That White House was made for one thing, to help people. We are the people that they're supposed to help, not their pocketbooks, not their corporation. It's never going to be like that, and it shouldn't be like that. If you keep voting these Republicans in there, they will funnel all their money to their corporations, and you will never see that. You'll be end up basically crapping and basically complaining and whining, saying that, you know, I'm a person that's on welfare. I'm going to vote for a rich guy. Well, a rich guy will never help you. They never will. They'll never empty their pockets for you. They don't feel sorry for you.
Most won't.
And you shouldn't be voting for Republican, period.
And those people,
period, end.
And those people, my friend, that you're talking about that have a lot of money, that never donate to charities, that never help people in need, those are the people that voted for Donald Trump, and those are the people that are making the most money, or I should say saving the most money off of this Donald Trump administration. I know a lot of people, not a lot, but a good handful of people that are very wealthy. And the people out there that voted for Donald Trump, some of whom I don't even talk to anymore, quite frankly. People that are friends of mine know exactly who I'm talking about. The reason why they support Donald Trump is so they could save money. And they're already billionaires, but they voted for Donald Trump because they wanted to save money on their taxes. They don't care about the homeless. They'll say they do. They don't. They don't care if people lose their health care benefits. They say they do. They don't. They're selfish bastards that only care about themselves, these rich people who voted for Donald Trump. Now, there are people who are very wealthy that did not vote for Donald Trump. I call these people compassionate people, like the Mark Cubans of the world, who literally dedicate their life to helping people people that are struggling. They're wealthy, sure. They're smart, sure. But they want to fix our healthcare system. Heck, Mark Cuban has developed a company that makes it cheaper for people to buy their prescription medications. You think Elon Musk is going to be doing that anytime soon? He cares about landing on Mars. He doesn't care about helping the homeless. He certainly doesn't care about being a good father. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Dan. Dan is next up on PTL. Hey, Dan, what's up?
Hey, Brian, how's it going?
Good. What's on your mind, Dan?
Well, first, there's a few things I want to say. Congratulations on getting the debate. I think you made a comment the other day regarding Tim Pool about taking the hats off. What I want to see between you guys at the end is, you know how like at the end of like a baseball game, or not baseball, like football game or basketball game, you see like the jersey swaps.
Yeah.
I want to see a hat swap.
You know what?
I
might just do that. Obviously, if he's a jerk to me, which what I've been told behind the scenes is that Tim is actually a cordial, nice guy when he's not on the air. And then once he gets on, he turns into a jerk. That's fine. I can play that game too.
Is that what they say about you too?
I don't know. What do they say about me? I don't know. That's a good question. I think people say I'm a jerk on and off the air. I think that's what they say. I don't know. But in all seriousness, I'm a passionate person. I don't think anybody would say that, whether they like me or not, off the air. I am a very passionate person. I would like to consider myself a good-hearted person. I do care about people, whether they're Republicans or Democrats. I want people to have health care. I want people to.
Right. I mean, that's
your
bread and butter.
Yeah. I don't want to own. Yeah. Exactly. I don't want to own the mags. Right. I want everyone to be able to live their life and be happy. Just stay out of my life. You know. So listen, am I going to go up to somebody on the street wearing a MAGA hat in public and degrade them? No. But if they're going to, I guess this is where maybe I am the same person off the air. If somebody with a MAGA hat comes to me and starts preaching ignorance to me, then I'm probably not going to be so nice to them. It's the same thing with this radio show. If people want to call in and use their little Trump fingers, and MAGA supporters want to call into this show, but if they want to be respectful to me and not misquote me, then I'll be respectful to them, and I've done that before. But if somebody's going to call into this show and misquote me or say something that is blatantly false or ignorant, you know, then I'm going to call it out on it. So I think what you see from me on the air.
A lot of people do like keywords, you know, scratch, claw, meow. But anyways, the topic I wanted to bring up, you had mentioned, and a few of your callers had mentioned that with this Qatari Air Force base thing, you mentioned it's unprecedented. So I want to preface this before we go any further. I don't really like it either. I like a lot of the things that Trump does, a lot of things I scratch my head about. I think this is one of the scratch my head occasions, right? Mm-hmm. But to say it's unprecedented isn't correct, because there's a Singapore Air Force base, there's a UK Air Force base, there's Germany, Netherlands, all this stuff. Right. And I know you can say in the background, I know you could say, you know, they funded terrorism.
Yeah, but here's where I would differentiate the two, right? When I say unprecedented, I don't know if you could find me a time in history where a president years earlier calls a group of people running a government those who fund terrorists, and then in another term of his presidency give them a military base on U.S. soil. I'm not saying that we don't give other countries bases here in this country. And by the way, I don't have a problem with that. But if they're funding terrorists, I do have a problem with it. I guess that's what I mean when I say unprecedented. Does that make sense?
So would you agree that, like, if a nation is funding terrorism, then the U.S. should take action to stop that?
Well, if there's evidence to prove that, sure, absolutely, sure.
So
yeah, depends on the situation, of course.
You would agree with Trump bombing Iran then?
Well,
Iran is the biggest funder of terrorists.
So just because there is a group of people, there's a difference between bombing somebody and giving them a military base on U.S. soil. Example. I agree with that. There's a big difference. Now, I would not be okay with, and I think it would be despicable if he decided to give Iran a military base. But just because...
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right, we agree there. But just because... and by the way, I was against the bombing of Iran because they didn't accomplish anything. And that's been proven, by the way. They had 2 days' notice. That was all for show to appease Benjamin Netanyahu and nothing else. Nothing was accomplished there. There were trucks. Now, if they accomplished something and they really hurt Iran's nuclear capabilities, then I would be like, okay, might have not been the greatest idea, but at least they accomplished something.
But in all reality, the United States isn't going to be like, yeah, it's a complete failure. They're going to say it's a success, and the Iranian government or whoever's in charge in Iran isn't going to say, yeah, they got it all.
Okay,
but
what's
you have to see it's an optic here as well.
Okay, I'm not expecting the U.S. to say, oh, my God, we failed, but what actually happened? Let's read between the lines here. I'll tell you what happened. Iran got a couple days' notice. There is video on our own intelligence and video that is showing trucks leaving that facility. We know that it wasn't just soil and sand that were in those trucks. We know what was in those trucks. Anything that was pertinent and important to furthering their nuclear capabilities. They had a couple days' notice. It was a failure. Now, I don't care what Donald Trump says. I don't care what Pete Hegseth says. It was a failure and an embarrassment. Listen, that doesn't take away from the brave pilots and the people that gave that were given commands to do what they did. I'm not taking anything away from them. What I'm doing is I'm criticizing Donald Trump, his administration, and Pete Hegseth because it was not a job that was well executed, and that's proven. That's my point. And again, I go back to what I said earlier.
What's your source on the fact that it's proven? Like, yeah, there were trucks that were coming out, but there's materials in there, but the entire the rest of the mechanism where they're putting it all together is destroyed. I think you can still make a very strong argument that there's significant setback.
What did our own American intelligence say about that strike, about what we did to their nuclear capabilities? What was the first report that came out? That's public, by the way. Do you know what it said in there?
I believe it was. I mean, they touted its success. I don't really. It's been a while now. You know the news cycle.
What they touted, and you could look at the report, set back maybe 2 or 3 months for Iran and their capabilities. That is probably the most honest explanation that we got. That is not a success. If you look at that first report that came out, it said maybe we set back Iran and their nuclear capabilities and what they're trying to do by 2 or 3 months. That is not a risk worth taking to start a war with another adversary. And again, back 2 to 3 months. Now, of course, the Trump administration poo-pooed on that report, as they do the same thing when it comes to the horrible job numbers that came out and the lack of job growth. They'll fire people. They'll say it's fake news. But that's my proof and evidence to tell you that it was not a success. And again, we agree on this. It goes back to what I said earlier. There's a fine line difference between giving Iran a military base on U.S. soil, which, by the way, they haven't done yet, and dropping bombs. Complete separation and difference there. Let's go to John. John is next up on PTL. Hi, John.
Hey, buddy, what's up?
What's up, John?
Hey, I heard some echoing. Anyway, got a question for you, just for humor.
Okay.
All right. Can you box, MMA, any martial arts in your background?
Is there any martial arts in my background? No. My background is filled with sports such as basketball, hockey, tennis, golf. So I don't have martial arts skills, at least not that I know of. Have I been in some physical altercations in my life? Yes, I've been in a few. But no, I wouldn't say I have any major skills in that category. Why do you ask?
Good enough. Cash Patel.
Yeah.
Then we set you up 5 rounds of Cash Patel. 2-minute rounds. What round do you think you'd knock him out in?
And
I'm not even a tough guy.
There's something really. So are we talking about UFC or boxing? 2 different things. I would not want to get into the octagon with him because I wouldn't want to be laying on top of him. So that's number one. Number two, if it was a boxing fight, I would certainly agree to that. And yes, I do think I would win the fight based on stamina. I do think I'm in better, not that I am Mr. Hulk, because clearly I'm not, but I do think I'm in better shape than Cash Patel. That is not the one person in Trump's administration that I think I would want to get into the ring with.
I'd like to fight Hegseth.
Hegseth, Hegseth could be tough. I mean, I understand that he's a white supremacist sympathizer, but he is in decent physical condition. That might be a little bit more difficult.
He's probably the toughest of the bunch, but
yeah.
I'd really like to get a hold of Steve Miller.
Ooh,
Okay, now I would be willing to get in the octagon with him, not because I'm attracted to him, but because I would just love to put, I would love to get him in an arm bar and force him to tap out. That would be fun. But I appreciate, I don't think that's going to happen, but if Stephen Miller would like to get into the ring with me and have some sort of sanctioned fight, whether it be in the octagon or boxing, I would more than welcome that 150%. And I don't think anybody needs martial arts capabilities or skill to be able to take on a guy who's about 4 foot tall. All right, let's go to Brian. Brian is next up on PTL. Hey, Brian, what's going on?
Hey, Brian.
Hey, what's up?
I would like to clarify what Antifa means. So, Antifa is an ideology. It's not a cult, fringe group, or an organization.
Yeah, I agree.
Antifa means you are against fascism, hence
right.
an anti-fascist.
Exactly.
Antifa for short.
Yep.
The meaning of this word exists and has existed for years before MAGA hijacked it. Trump's administration and his cult of nihilist right-wing cockroaches are simply using this word as a dog whistle to incite hate and violence towards innocent people.
You know what is a hate group?
Marginalized groups of people.
You know what is a hate group? The Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers. Okay, those are actual, real hate groups. And you remind me of that moron Enrique Tarrio, who was trying to go after me on social media yesterday. It got kind of ridiculous. But Brian, listen, you are 150% correct. And I agree with you. Antifa meaning anti-fascist. That doesn't mean you're part of a group or an organization. It means you're part of a pro-democracy group, if you want to call it that. I agree with you. Let's go to Michael. Michael's next up on PTL. Hi, Michael.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good. What's on your mind?
I just want to rally up the troops and tell everybody, keep up the fight, keep up the pressure, don't stop. Pedal to the metal, everybody.
And what does that entail? What is your opinion of what that entails? What does pedal to the metal mean to you personally, Michael?
Well, standing up to the voiceless, standing up to the defenseless, standing up to everything that we believe in as a country, that's what I believe in, standing up for the good. I mean, it's been a rough 10 months, you know what I mean? And where I live is pretty bad. I'm in Ohio, so you can imagine how that is.
Well, listen, the MAGA cult like to use the term patriot, right? Somehow you're a patriot.
Oh, my God.
But I'm going to tell you something. The real patriots, besides our brave men and women in uniform, police officers, firefighters, teachers, people that save lives every day, obviously those are all I would call heroes or patriots. The real patriots,
Absolutely.
I think, and the overwhelming majority of patriots that are going to be in Washington, D.C. on October 18th that are going to be peacefully protesting using their First Amendment right against this oligarchy and dictatorship of an administration, those are the true patriots.
Absolutely. And 2028 is just around the corner. They think it's not going to ever come back up. It's around the corner.
Yep.
Get ready, vote, and everybody keep up the good work, and
Amen,
appreciate
brother.
you guys for having me.
Amen, brother. Thank you for the phone call. You have a good weekend. So for those of you that are unaware, as I mentioned before, I'm going to be doing 2 public events. One is going to be in Washington, D.C. I'm going to be debating Tim Pool, Myron Gaines, and Alex Stein. Boy, I feel like it's the start of a joke, like Tim Pool, Myron Gaines, and Alex Stein walk into a bar. But I'm very happy to be doing that. It'll be October 18th in Washington, D.C. I'll have more tickets to give away next week. We had a few winners today, so you'll be able to meet yours truly in person and watch me debate those guys. So that should be interesting. And then a couple days later in Las Vegas, part of the UNF America Tour, which I am a part of along with Destiny and others, we are doing an event right here in Las Vegas at the UNLV campus. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be in the outdoor venue, events venue. I'll get more information on that next week, but that's going to be on the 22nd, where I will be starting that event with a microphone. And Destiny's going to be debating people. I will be debating people, and you'll meet everybody else within the UNF America Tour. So certainly looking forward to that. Last thing before I let you go, we'll be back at it on Monday, is that this is an independently owned radio show, which means we rely on people like you to help support us and keep the lights on. So what can you do to help us? Well, you'll see that little icon there, if you notice it, on the left-hand or the right-hand portion of your screen, my left. That brings you to my website. Pushingthelimits.live is the website. Now, we do sell merchandise on there. We sell hats, we sell beanies, we sell all sorts of merchandise. But you'll also see a button on the front page that says donate. $5, $10, $20 a month, whatever you can afford, we obviously greatly appreciate. So thank you in advance for that. Thank you for everybody in the YouTube Super Chat that is involved. We'll be back at it Monday. And congratulations to Alex and David. Alex and David, who I guess I'll be meeting them in Washington, D.C. They both won a pair of tickets to this event in Washington, D.C., which I will be at, debating Tim Pool and others on October 18th. Love you guys. See you guys, PTL Nation, on Monday, same time, same place. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas.